What's up, everybody? It's Neil from Toronto Condos. We are pre-construction real estate brokers, and we help people buy pre-construction real estate either for investment or to live in within Toronto or the Greater Toronto Area. So today I want to talk to you about the mindset behind buying pre-construction condos. We would say that we deal with about 1 in 50 people who actually make the move and buy pre-construction. So out of 50 inquiries that we get from people, 1 out of those 50 people end up buying a pre-construction condo. So we want to kind of dissect that and see why that is. What we found over the years, it all comes down to mindset. Why is somebody actually purchasing the pre-construction unit? Are they doing it for investment, or are they doing it to actually live in? And what are some of the blocks that are preventing people from actually making the move? So let's look at some of those blocks that people have. Number one block that we see is getting advice from family or friends that haven't done what that person is trying to do. For example, we have a lot of new investors that want to invest in pre-construction. They're really interested, they do a lot of research, they attend a bunch of different events, but when it comes down to putting pen on paper and actually going forward with the transaction, with the purchase, they're afraid to. And often when we kind of dissect and see why that is they're getting advice from people who have no experience doing what they're trying to do. So for example, many times we have the scenario where somebody's trying to purchase their first pre-construction unit and they want to rent it out. And what happens is we notice that a lot of people kind of shy away from doing that if they're a first-time investor, because they speak to a friend or they speak to a family member that has never bought pre-construction real estate, and they tell them, oh, it's a terrible idea, the walls are thin, the building will never be completed, it's going to take, if it is completed, it'll take double the time to be completed. And then that person who's that aspiring investor wanting to invest ends up being afraid and not moving forward. So that's what we see when we see investors who kind of shy away. Another important aspect that we see with, on the investor side, people who are really eager, want to invest, but lose kind of focus of the mindset is, how are they going to finance the purchase? So people are eager, they want to invest, everybody loves real estate, but when it comes down to preparation and having your finances in order, are they in order? And where are you going to draw upon the capital in order to invest? And when we look at experienced investors, they know that it's all about leverage. Classic real estate investing is you use leverage funds in order to purchase subsequent properties. So that's a very important aspect, once again, that we see with newer investors. They're eager, they want to buy pre-construction, they're going through all the research, they want to visit sites, but when it comes down to accessing the down payment, they're not sure how. And that comes to the preparation and potentially using leveraged funds if you have access to that in order to purchase real estate. So those are a couple of items that we see on the investor front. When it comes down to people that are looking to purchase for end use, or if it's people that are going to actually live in the building itself, we see one big factor that's kind of unfortunate with first-time home buyers is sometimes we see family talking them out of it. So, with regards to, and again, these are trends that we see because we deal with tons and tons of people who are looking to buy pre-construction, and those that are successful in moving forward, and then those that aren't successful. And we like to take a look and see why, the people that weren't successful, why weren't they successful in moving forward and buying pre-construction. So one of the aspects we see with first-time home buyers sometimes is family discouraging them to actually make a move, whether it be stay at home, save money, you're buying in a bad area. There's just all these obstacles that are thrown up for first-time home buyers, unfortunately, when they're trying to enter in the market. And I think that it's just kind of unfortunate, but sometimes that's how it is with family. You get different advice and obstacles from family members. Often what we see, it's the parents that kind of hold the young adult back who's trying to get into the market, whether it's the Toronto market, whether it's the Greater Toronto Area. They're eager, they want to do it, they want to move forward, and it's sometimes the parents that can't let go that kind of put up these obstacles with regards to don't get in too much over your head. Things are expensive. Stay at home, save money. This is not a good area. These condos are not constructed well. So it's all these obstacles that are thrown at the first-time buyer that overwhelms them and sometimes doesn't make them move forward. So now let's flip it on the other side and let's look at the mindset of people who are successful. People who are successful buying pre-construction, and we have a lot of those people, whether it's investors and whether it's end users, people who are actually going to live in the unit. So when it comes down to investors, the people that are very successful are the people that are very decisive. They make a decision very quickly and they don't waver from that. So when we look at the trends of all the investors that we deal with, it's the investors that make an immediate decision that we see following through and purchasing. And not only do they purchase once, they purchase multiple times. But that's a big, I would say, characteristic trait that exists with investors, the decisiveness in moving forward. Also, too, an important variable for investors that have the right mindset is they have their financial situation in order. So for example, say they own a home that they live in, say it's in the suburbs somewhere, the value is $1 million, the mortgage say is $200,000. So they've figured things out where they've put a secure line of credit on their home, say up to 80% loan to value, and they then are able to access funds in order to purchase pre-construction condos. So they've got their financial situation figured out, and when it comes down to the mindset of the successful people that move forward, they have their situation figured out. People that are looking to purchase to live in, the success that we see of those people who buy pre-construction, they have a very good idea of where they want to be. That's really important. They know the neighborhood that they want to be in, and they're very focused on that, and they kind of don't lose sight of where they want to be. And that makes it very easy for them because there's a lot of options always with regards to real estate and pre-construction condos with all the launches that are coming up. And it can be overwhelming if you're just going from project to project trying to figure out, oh, here's a launch over here, in Vaughan, oh, there's another one here in Toronto, there's one in Oakville, there's one in Milton, there's one in Burlington. You're all over the place, right? So the ones that we see are successful in terms of end users, so people who want to live in the unit themselves, is they're super decisive and they have a geographical area that they want to focus on and target. So those are just some variables that I want to talk about. When it comes to pre-construction, there's a lot to navigate, obviously, and we've always found in tracking behavioral patterns of purchasers, whether investors or whether it's end users, there's common traits of the people who don't move forward, and then of course there's behavioral patterns that are common with those who take action and move forward. Hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions at all, we're always happy to help. Feel free to drop it in the comment section below, or let us know where you're from. Just put down in the comment section below Toronto, Brampton, Mississauga, Vaughan, Oakville, wherever it is, even if you're international, Hong Kong, London, whatever. Always interested to see where the viewers are coming from. Consider subscribing to this channel as well for more information on pre-construction. We like to help people buy pre-construction in the Greater Toronto Area, either to live in or for investment, and we'll see you in the next video.